Hello my dear students watching us now. In this episode we will explain necessity and lack of necessity. Necessity can be in the present or in the past. So how can we express necessity in the present? To express necessity in the present we can use some of these words. Number one, have to. Again, have to. For example, we are late, we have to take a taxi. Again, we are late, we have to take a taxi. Number two, we can use has to with singular noun or pronoun. For example, he has to wear a uniform at work. Again, he has to wear a uniform at work. Number three, we can use need or needs to. For example, he needs to wear a uniform at work. Or they need to wear a uniform at work. Number four, we can use the word must. For example, we are late, we must take a taxi. Again, we are late, we must take a taxi. Number five, we can use the phrase it's necessary to, followed by infinitive. For example, it's necessary to wear a uniform at school. Again, it's necessary to wear a uniform at school. So we can use have to, has to, need to or needs to, must, and it's necessary to express necessity in the present. And they are all followed by infinitive or is form. Now we will talk about lack of necessity in the present. To express lack of necessity in the present, we use number one, don't have to or doesn't have to. For example, I don't have to rush. There is plenty of time. Or he doesn't have to rush. There is plenty of time. Taking into your consideration that we use don't have to with plural noun or pronoun, whereas we use doesn't have to with singular noun or pronoun. Number two, don't need to, doesn't need to, or needn't plus infinitive. For example, I don't need to leave until 10. He doesn't need to leave until 10. Or, I needn't leave until 10. But you have to know that the word needn't cannot be followed by to infinitive. It's always directly followed by paired infinitive or infinitive without to. So we cannot say, I needn't to leave until 10. It's wrong to say that. But say, I needn't leave until 10. Number three, it isn't necessary to. For example, it isn't necessary to apologize. Or it isn't necessary to leave until 10. It isn't necessary to wash the dishes. So we use don't have to, doesn't have to, don't need to, doesn't need to, or needn't. It isn't necessary to express lack of necessity in the present, and they are all followed by infinitive. Thus we have talked about necessity in the present. Now it's time to talk about necessity in the past. To express necessity in the past, we use number one, had to. For example, I had to stay at home yesterday as I was ill. Again, I had to stay at home yesterday as I was ill. Number two, needed to. For example, I needed to walk home yesterday as I lost my money. Again, I needed to walk home yesterday as I lost my money. Number three, it was necessary to. For example, when we were children, we didn't have emails, so it was necessary to write letters. Again, when we were children, we didn't have emails, so it was necessary to write letters. Now, what about expressing lack of necessity in the past? To express lack of necessity in the past, we use number one, didn't have to. For example, Mona didn't have to take her sunglasses because it was cloudy. Number two, didn't need to. For example, Mona didn't need to take her sunglasses because it was cloudy. Number three, didn't have plus past participle or PP. For example, we needn't have put more bread. We already have a lot. So we use didn't have to, didn't need to, and didn't have plus PP to express lack of necessity in the past. But anyone can ask me what's the difference between didn't have to and didn't have plus past participle. Firstly, we use didn't have to express something wasn't necessary in the past, so we didn't do it. Whereas we use didn't have plus past participle or PP to express something also wasn't necessary in the past, but we did it. We'll talk about must and mustn't. Firstly, we use the word must to talk about, number one, rules or laws. For example, drivers must follow traffic rules. Again, drivers must follow traffic rules. Number two, strong advice. For example, you must wash your hands before you eat. You must wash your hands before you eat. Number three, a warm invitation. For example, you must come and see us at the weekend. You must come and see us at the weekend. Number four, a strong reminder to ourselves. For example, we must remember that tourism is very important for our country. Again, we must remember that tourism is very important for our country. As for the word mustn't, we use the word mustn't to express, number one, prohibition. For example, you mustn't smoke here. It's a no smoking area. Again, you mustn't smoke here. It's a no smoking area. Number two, a strong reminder to ourselves. For example, we mustn't forget to buy a present for our mother. It's her birthday. Again, you mustn't forget to buy a present for our mother. It's her birthday. Number three, strong negative advice. For example, you must waste your time. Again, you mustn't waste your time. Number four, warning or warning against something is dangerous. For example, you mustn't touch the electric wire. It's dangerous. Again, you mustn't touch the electric wire. It's dangerous. So we must ask what the difference between must and have to. Firstly, we use the word must to express internal obligation. Something comes from the speaker. So when we say we must remember, we mustn't forget, here we are talking about strong emotions or strong feelings comes from the speaker himself. Whereas we use the word have to express external obligation that doesn't come from the speaker himself. Let's do some practice. Number one, modern hospitals space have the best modern technology. The correct answer is have to. Number two, you space walk up the hill because there is a pass. The correct answer is don't have to. Schools space help their students to stay safe and healthy. The correct answer is have to. The heart space pump a lot of blood through your body. The correct answer is has to. Number five, the school bus broke down, so the pupils space walk to school. The answer is had to. He has a car, so he space take a bus. The answer is needn't. He has plenty of money. He space earn his living. The answer is needn't. It's space for her to study hard before the exam. The answer is necessary. Number 9, you have to come before the meeting starts. It's a space. The answer is necessity. You space follow rules or you will get fired. The answer is have to. We space forget to bring a coat to the mountains It will be cold. The answer is must. You space visit the pyramids when you are in Cairo. They are amazing. The answer is must. We mustn't park here. We are not space to park here. The answer is allowed. I space buy some bread from the shops. Don't let me forget. The answer is must. You space stop smoking. The answer is must. The last bus is at 11. I space miss it, or else I won't be able to get home. The answer is mustn't. I space stop eating sweets. They are bad for me. The answer is must. He space such heavy clothes. It was hot. The answer is needn't have worn. Again, needn't have worn. Mona space take her sunglasses because it was cloudy. The answer is didn't have to. The students space all those notes. All the information is typed for them. The answer is needn't have written. Again, needn't have written. Thanks for listening.